Hello and welcome back to BlueTube on YouTube with me, Neil, and my son Ben.
BlueTube on YouTube.
We're going to talk about the little incidents of a game that happened last night against a little team called, they're not a little team.
They're tiny.
Bradford. In the VIRTU Trophy, and we are going to Wembley.
We are indeed, and that is something that should not be shirked at whatsoever, irregardless of what we may or may not think of the competition itself. A trip to Wembley is a wonderful day out.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm buzzing, but there was a little bit of a downturn to last night, which we will obviously talk about regarding our Jay. But this was a game that I weren't sure how to approach it because they've been doing all right in their League Two. They were third when we went into the game. I think they're sitting in the playoffs still now, with the other people catching up around them. So they're having a good season of it. I think they've gone pretty much unbeaten for ages, or they're getting some really good results. I was looking at their form yesterday before the match, and they're having a really good season. So they came at this, obviously come right through to the semis. They wanted to go through, and gave us a bloody good game, to be honest with you.
Well, they already had their cup final, didn't they? And it was last night. No, all jokes aside, they had a lot of heart, a lot of spirit. Felt like they gave us a better game than a lot of the opposition that we faced in League One, to be honest, and that's no disrespect. That's more credit to Bradford. But I'll be honest, not to take away from us, and I might be putting myself under it a little bit here, but I don't think that we really brought it as much as I was expecting us to yesterday. I think that there was a lot of nerves in the players. Maybe it was just that anticipation of we're one game away now.
Agree.
And that anticipation, maybe there was a bit of pressure as well, because let's be honest, we were expected to turn them over. And yeah, I thought that a lot of the players in the team, they weren't up to their normal standards for me. Not to say that they were terrible, of course not. We won the game, that's the main thing. But I certainly think that nerves played a part. And I mean, it's taken nothing away from Bradford. I don't think that they played poorly either.
Well, we rested a few players, didn't we? Which I thought was a really good idea, to be fair. It was mostly, like our normal starting lineup, but a few noticeable rests was like the one that comes to mind was Laird was rested for Taylor Gardner-Hickman, which was good to see. And he had a half-decent game, to be fair, coming back from injury. Trying to think who else there was. We played Jay from the start up front. Like I say, we'll get round to what happened with him.
Allsop was into the Peacock Farrell, which was a big question beforehand.
I was half expecting Peacock Farrell to be in, but I think it just goes to show that he obviously wanted this trip to Wembley, and we sort of set up as we meant to go on. But going back to what you were saying, I just thought that we threw everything at them without that finesse again, and it was like there was just that little bit of holdback last night, and I really think that we let them get back right into the game. Obviously there were things that happened in the game that we'll talk about when we get there. How many times I said that now? But no, I just think that we could have properly finished them off if we'd have just had that little bit of a finish in the final third. Again, it's like that's come back to haunt us.
I don't want us to be naive when we give these sorts of assessments as well, because I want to avoid us being biased and just thinking that it's always purely down to us and not down to the know-how and the spirit and the fight and the tactical nous of our opposition. I don't think Bradford played badly. They gave us a real good. They gave it a real good crack.
They're a good team. They're a good footballing team. But it was all defending from them. I mean, I'll get onto the stats again in a bit. I'll get them up ready. In fact, no, I'll get them up because it sort of means something here. I mean, we dominated in possession again, and they sort of, when they did have their bit of possession, it was useful possession. They've obviously scored, but obviously that's something to talk about, which we'll get on to shortly. That's four times, isn't it?
You've got to stop doing that now.
Okay. 67.5% possession. And like we've said numerous times in the past, possession means nothing. Possession means nothing.
I think it was in their game plan as
well.
well.
How many times you stick the ball in the net, isn't it? So total shots, 10 for Blues, 3 for Bradford.
Yeah.
On target, 4 for us, 2 for them. Passing percentage, 84.3, 65.6. It sounds great, but it's got to mean something when it comes in. And I'm not knocking what Blues have done yesterday, because what an achievement, especially with what happened to Jay, which we'll get to in a bit.
I think it comes down to just those, like I mentioned before, just those nerves and trying to create a perfect goal.
We were nervous. Yeah, trying to walk the ball into the net. I remember, I think one of the commentators said something like that, or it might have been one of us discussing it during the game. It was like, have a go. Iwata, he had some really good, like chances.
People just scream and shoot at him now.
And there were sometimes. It's almost like, oh no, I don't want to miss. No, have a go. We'll cheer you. You know. I never diss.
In his
that could be something we use in the future.
It's not. In his body language, I could tell that as the game was drawing to a close, I think the last 20 minutes, he was actually trying to shape up to shoot, but he was just getting closed down so quickly. I think he finally got the message like, do you know what, I feel like having a go here. But earlier on in the game, he just seemed like he would be a little bit worried about
but what
having
happened,
a pop.
though, what happened, we did get that goal right on half-time. Jay Stansfield, what a corker. Ball's played into him. I mean, we were pressing again. I think we'd had a corner. It was like second phase. Ball's played back in. He's chested it down and on the turn just slotted it into the bottom left corner, beat the keeper.
Yeah.
Cracking goal.
And we were saying, weren't we, like the first 20 minutes into the game, we didn't even notice Jay Stansfield at all. I had to do a double take.
Yeah.
Is that Jay playing?
Yeah.
But
We'd said after about, I think it was well into the game, wasn't it? So I haven't seen him. You said you haven't seen him on the ball. I haven't seen him.
No.
But you know what?
He doesn't need much, though, does he?
He doesn't need much. And if he turns games like he does...
It just goes to show the quality and what he
isn't
can do, which is why it was so painful. Should we go into the second half?
Yeah, we can do. But I was just going to say, as you say, though, maybe give them a bit of credibility for how they defended yesterday, because they were backs to the wall, weren't they, to be fair? I mean, was it we couldn't break them down, or was it that we weren't just giving it that final push? But yeah.
Should be a combination of them both.
So we're 1-0 up, going into the second half. And I'm going to go right through to it now, what we're going on about.
Can I say one thing, actually? Sorry to cut you off.
That's right.
I felt like there was one interesting thing about the game yesterday, and that was the referee in terms of, he was dying for a touch of the ball, wasn't he? I remember saying,
yes.
I've never ever seen, watching a game of football, a referee get so in the way of things.
Wasn't it like 4 occasions that the ball came off him?
Half a dozen of them, where he was just getting in the way and he wasn't moving out the way.
He was hopeless, wasn't he?
Oh, it was absolutely dreadful.
And I don't mean like, well, it wasn't a great performance, which we'll get round to. Yeah, but it was like he couldn't get out the way, and his positioning was a bit.
Yeah, it's really, really
rubbish,
poor.
wasn't it?
He looked like a deer in the headlights a lot of the times when you got a close.
I mean, not that we're going to make it obvious who the referee was. Scott Oldham. No, we're going to get onto that then. So there was that. We had a break down the right hand side. Stanfield into the area. Looks like he's just about ready to pull the trigger.
He does ever so well as well.
And then absolutely
bulldozed.
Poleaxed in the area. Referees looking down on it again. They go down the other end. We're sort of dumbstruck by this.
That defender
he looked counter and score.
He looked as guilty as you could. The defender did as well. Like looking at the referee, waiting for the decision that just never came. And of course, like it's the worst that could possibly happen from that situation. You should have had a penalty. One of your players goes down injured, and we don't know to the extent of that injury. And then the opposition go up and score a goal. We got hit by the 3 pillars of terror.
And all I know is that I remember still moaning at you about it, that we hadn't got the penalty, and then suddenly looking and the ball was in the net, and I was just like, how the hell has that just happened?
Yeah.
How the hell has that was? And this happens. Yeah, we hear a lot of the teams against Blues saying that we get the rub of the green and that, but I don't think we have. I mean, look at what happened last week. I won't go on too much about it with Charlton and that thing. Not that meant a lot at the time, because like people have said afterwards, it wouldn't have been a sending off, it wouldn't have been a penalty. But it's just that we don't get some of those obvious decisions, and I don't know where I'm going with it, but yesterday could have been such a different result on the back of that.
Yeah.
And either way, Stano was going to get injured. He was carried off. He was down. We had 11 minutes added on because of what happened to him there. And do you know what? What I will say is that referee Oldham was, he looked so sheepish afterwards.
Yeah.
I think, looking at it from just a bit of experience of life, the look on his face and the way his body position was, he knew it in a proper way.
Yeah.
And I nearly said it there because I'm really passionate about what happened yesterday. So Stano gets carried off to hospital. We don't know exactly what's happening, but I'm going to borrow a picture that I've seen on social media this morning. That's up now. He's back on his feet. legs bandaged up. He was with a little lad, obviously outside the hospital yesterday. So fingers crossed.
Do you know what, fair play for Jay doing that. I can't imagine you'd be in the right frame of mind. He's just a class act,
do you know what? We've got
isn't
such a squad of players, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got such a squad.
Says a lot about you, I think that.
Yeah, we've got some great characters, and do you know what? To be part of that, I'd love that. I would. Everyone must be loving life.
Well, you are in a sense.
Work. Yeah, yeah. But we are part of the blues community, and that's what I love, and that's why we do this, isn't it? But getting back onto the game, so 1-1, find ourselves, and then it is a little bit backs to the wall, isn't it? They have a real spell on. I mean, they were having a bit of a spell when that happened, to be fair.
Well, I felt like the first half we were a little bit sheepish, as we say, key word of today, nervous. And then we scored that goal, went in for half-time, and when we came back out again, I thought, here's the blues that we know. We're growing into it a little bit. And then that incident happened with Jay. He got stretched off. Of course, they scored. And then we were sunk back into it again. And that's sort of how the second half played out for me. I mean, we had moments.
It's almost like we didn't recover from it.
We didn't recover from it. No.
Which is a worry, isn't it? Because Chris Davis has got us playing with this real belief, but we sort of lost it for a little bit then. But then that super sub came on, didn't he? He's turning into a super sub, isn't it? Lyndon Dykes.
I think this is...
And Alfie Mayo was a little bit disappointed because no matter how hard that guy tried, it just didn't work for him last night, did it? And we know that guy's got it. We know Lyndon Dykes.
Give him time.
What a header.
Yes.
It was Tomoki that Iwata put a cracking ball into the box. Did I hear someone on the telly last night say, oh, it wasn't the best ball into the box, but he turned... I'm like, what? Put it on his head.
Yes, you did. I remember. Yeah.
And the finish was just...
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Best way that you can win a game as well, right at the death.
Yeah.
But I have to say, now, I don't want to go on about being all negative, but I'm only speaking how I feel. The shine was took off of it for me. I felt a little bit odd because of the injury with Stanner.
Because you'll want to look to the future, you know, you're not here and now, you're sort of looking to the future and how are we going to be moving forward. Yeah. We're looking like we're going into a final. Are we going to even have Stansfield back? What's the running going to be like if we haven't got him?
Yeah.
So we need to know. We haven't got any new news today, but that I'm holding on to that, like I say, that picture we've seen, that it's not too bad. God, I'm touching wood. So is there anyone else that shone for you? So I thought they gave us a little bit of jip at the back, didn't they, Clara and Davis?
Yeah.
They looked threatened. Which they don't normally know. This is one of those games, isn't it? It was a banana skin game yesterday because it wasn't. It was a cup semi-final at the end of the day, so it was tough. But I thought they rose above it in the end, didn't they?
Well, I think I've heard a few people say this now across social media. Bradford really had nothing to lose. So, it's against Birmingham. Well, we're obviously meant to lose that one. But if we end up winning it somehow, we've got a lovely day out to Wembley. So they could just be completely free in their football and really go at it and enjoy the occasion. But with the Blues, it's like, we've got Wembley right here. Bradford were expected to win, and it played a huge part. You could see it in the way that the players, were on the pitch. But the difference is now, and I think that this might come down to the culture that's changing. Maybe Chris Davis' man management, but that character to power through that, and even a setback with your star man getting injured, to go all the way through to the end of the line and win the game. So it just goes to show how far we've come. And I know it's against Bradford, but let's show respect. 11v11. Anything can happen, and I thought we showed a lot of character, and we were incredible value for the win.
A cup final. There was enough teams in it. It was sticky at the start against Walsall. It looked like, are we into it? Are we not?
Yeah.
And it's clear that we wanted to be in that final right from the start. I heard one of the players on the interview say it last night, Alfie May, I think. It is something they were aiming for all the way through. Bradford manager said exactly the same thing when he started this run. He wanted to be in the final. They had belief in their team, and we've come out. It looks like it's probably Wrexham, isn't it, or Peterborough? So
yes, they've still got to play their game on the 26th, I think.
That's unusual, isn't it? How it's not played at the same time, but that's going to be a cracker, isn't it?
It's going to be a cracker.
Peterborough, bit of a bogey team for Blues in the past.
Well, it could be the Wembley Barry Fry reunion.
Where,
it's
going
to
be
sides.
An absolute cracker.
It's really
going to be spot on. I can't wait for it. It's going to be such a day out.
If anyone's ever doubted, a neutral has ever doubted the support of Birmingham, go and take a look at just some of the highlights from that game and see the crowd. see the fans,
Oh, what
soak in the atmosphere.
what a spectacle last
we
night.
missed out on the tickets. I mean, shame on us. And on general sale, apparently went out in 15 minutes anyway.
Yeah, so I heard. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just barmy. And do you know what? I love
unreal.
it. And if you can't get a ticket, fair play. If we can't get a ticket for something like that, because season tickets in the league anyway, and it's just like we probably. I know we were going to look at it at some point, but then like when you came to me, and I think it's so spread out there, it was like we'd have been split up. It's difficult, but the fact that we're getting those supporters down there makes it even better for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we still managed to get to watch the game, and when we got a big new stadium, we'll all be able to fit in. So that's something to look forward to as well. But no, on the whole, fantastic result, fantastic night in the end. Hopefully Jay's not too bad. I thought every player played his part last night. Bit of a good squad performance in the end. It was backs to the wall at one time, but that new Blues mentality is shining through now, isn't it? Whereas
100%.
the old Blues would have been just like, we'd have got a goal up, we can't defend the 1-0 lead and end up losing it.
Yeah,
1-1. Or it would have gone to penalties and lost it on penalties. But the new Blues, we push through and we do it.
Right, well, I think that rounds it off quite nicely. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, just congratulations to everyone associated with Blues for getting through to the final. And I just hope they give us the full allocation, because there have been times in the past where they've sort of limited it down, but we could fill half Wembley easy, couldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I could fill half of it myself, but I'm trying to slim down. But
I was going to say that, to be fair. And fair play to Bradford, of course, as well. For a
unlucky
decent
Bradford. But I tell you what, Bradford probably well worthy of coming up into League One next year.
And they brought a few down with them, so yeah, fair play.
Good following.
But yeah, we'll close it off there. Let us know your thoughts as we are putting this one out. I mean, it is just the day after. You might already know about Jay Stansfield and where that's going, but all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. But a trip to Wembley, we'll see you there. Take care, Blues fans, and we will see you on the next one.